Welcome to another episode of the FitBod Blueprint. Phil and Tyler here with you as always. Tyler, how are you doing today, man?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Can't complain, and if I could, who the hell wants to hear it? Quit your whine and get on with your day. I don't know why I said that as a pirate, but it fit.
We're kind of talking about pirates, so.
That is true. That is true. So, man, today we are going to be talking about one that I feel like it's sometimes a little bit of a elephant in the room whenever it comes to coaching, and that is how to get results with your coaching instead of just wasting your time and money. So a lot of people will spend money on coaching, but they don't actually get the long-term results because they constantly start and stop. That is like the number one thing that I see. Hey, 3 months I'm in, 3 months I'm out, 3 months I'm in, 3 months I'm out.
Yeah.
And they end up just spinning their wheels. And it's like, hey, we make really good progress in 3 months. And then 3 months later, after you've taken a break, you're back and you're exactly where you were at 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So the real value of coaching comes from staying consistent, communicating with your coach. And like, I hate to say this, but you do have to have some degree of trust in your coach's methodology. So trust the process, as the bros say.
Yeah, as we like to say.
Yeah, today we're talking about how to make the most out of coaching, avoid spinning your wheels, and actually see results.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, all you, man.
Yeah. I think, the hard part of that is it does make them feel like they are never really getting anywhere. And they're like, well, why can't I, get there or get to this point? And it always feels like they're dieting, or it always feels like they're having to start over. And yeah, it is that cycle of quitting, restarting, and not really, I would say, doing that hard work to implement that, into a lifestyle. And that's something I talk a lot about with my clients, that we're going to, whatever your age is, right? We're going to be doing this for another 30, 40, 50 years. That's kind of the goal. And we've really got to get these habits to a point where they're just kind of second nature.
It becomes your system for success, and you're not thinking about it anymore. And that is the ultimate long-term goal with working with a coach is, let's get you to a point where you're set up for success, you've implemented the systems long enough that you know how to do it, and you know how to do it like a pro. And it's not going to only take 3 months. That is one of the first conversations that I have with people before I even let someone sign up is, let's figure out what your goals are and what's the timeline for it. Because it's easy to look at a year from now and it feels like it's forever. Hey, 2026 feels like you got a long time to go, but why is it that January 2024 feels like we just blinked an eye and it was yesterday? Why is it that 2020 feels like it was 5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, there are a lot of people out there who have spent money on coaching and they've just not really gotten the results that they want. It's not because coaching doesn't work. It's not because a calorie deficit doesn't work. The law of thermodynamics is universally applied. It's not because of some boogeyman that somebody with hundreds of thousands or millions of followers on social media is saying is your problem. 9 times out of 10 because somebody, they start, they stop, or they hop from one coach to another, or they're listening to way too many different sources.
Yeah.
So it's like people get excited at the beginning and we see some progress, then life gets busy and we quit. People start ghosting on their check-ins. They stop tracking, and before they know it, they're off track and going, you know what, I think I just need to take a break for a few months. When the reality is, those busy times, it's a time to shift your goals, not to give up on them. So that's where I love having systems in place or segments of from a coach perspective, what does the client life cycle look like? We're going to have phases where we push, and most people reach out to an online coach because their primary goal is fat loss. We're going to have phases where we're going through fat loss. We're also going to have phases where we're focusing on maintaining the progress that we've made, where you may not be where you ultimately want to be, but we're going to learn how to maintain it. Because whenever somebody hits that point of, oh crap, work just got really busy, life got busy, whatever it is that they're like, I need to stop. 9 times out of 10, if you actually push through it and you just maintain where you're at, you're going to come out of it a better spot so that in 2, 3, 4 months, whatever that looks like, now whenever you resume with a coach, you're resuming from where you started the maintenance phase at instead of, okay, make all this progress, stop working towards my goals altogether, just go into screw it mode. And then 3 months later, whenever you go, hey, life has slowed down, you're right back to where you were 6 months ago. It's as if that all that time, all that money, all that effort that you put in for yourself has now just gone away. Yeah. So we don't want to see someone ever go right back to where they started off at. That's our ultimate thing, is we want to keep you moving along even in the hard times.
Yeah, like a lot of people will think that to continue to move forward, I need to keep seeing the scale come down. I need to keep seeing these things, or I need to feel like I'm grinding myself down into dust, or what have you. Where a lot of progress can be made by just working on, like you said, maintaining. And I even made a post yesterday, 2 days ago, talking about like nutrient periodization, and like that is a real strategy, whether it's 3 months on, 3 months off, whether it's, you're utilizing diet breaks, 1 week, 2 week diet breaks of, hey, you know what, all of a sudden I'm working 12-hour shifts. All right, let's take a small little break. Let's bring calories back to maintenance. We take a little bit of a stressor off, not just you mentally, but also the body, because stress in other areas is coming back up, and then we can just jump right back into it without having really lost any ground. If anything, we've gained ground. We've given your metabolism a chance to kind of come back to a maintenance level. It only takes about 6 to 8 weeks for your metabolism to reestablish itself in that maintenance level, really. So it's not like you need to take a bunch of time, and again, you're just setting yourself for more success, short term and long term. And I like how you said at the beginning, where people can feel like a year is so long when we look at it in this present moment, but then you shift it. You're like, well, let's think about the last year. Let's think about the last 3 years. Wow, okay, yeah, like that actually goes very fast. And the amount of change you can make in a lifestyle, in a body composition in a year, like a real dedicated year, is quite vast. Like, you could easily lose 30 to 50 pounds in a year doing it on a consistent basis and still not, quote-unquote, wreck your metabolism, which isn't necessarily a real thing, except in extreme cases. And really not feel like you're depleting your life or depriving yourself. So yeah, it's something that I think just continually having to shift our perception on.
Yeah. So to kind of expand on that, look, if you're thinking about signing up with a coach, you need to view it as a long-term investment and not just a quick fix. People think of coaching kind of like school, like, hey, you're going to graduate. And yes, you will eventually graduate, but think about graduating from high school. It's a process of 13 years counting kindergarten. You're not going to work with a coach for 13 years, but I'd say that it's fairly reasonable to say it takes a year to master something, to truly understand reading a nutrition label, to truly understand nutrient balance, to truly understand here's how I push and pull on what levers for activating the mechanisms of fat loss, of muscle building, of maintaining.
Yeah. It's
going to take you a year to truly not just learn it, but also master the execution of it. So it's not something that you necessarily finish. It's something that helps you get to where you want to be, and then you learn these are the processes for how does it help you to stay here.
Yeah. I always think of the study where it was 80% of people after a diet within the first year, they've gained the weight back. Within 2 years, they've gained it back and or more than they've actually lost. So, go ahead.
So if I can jump in on this one.
Unless it's been updated.
So I'm a part of an ongoing study called it's called the National Weight Control Registry.
Yeah.
And what they do is they study what are the habits of people that have lost a significant amount of body fat of at least 20% of their starting weight. What is their success rate at 1 year? What is their success rate at 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? And then from there, it's 5 years and beyond. So, yeah, statistically, within 1 year, it's something, and now it just really depends on what is the demographic and population that they're looking at, but population as a whole is about 80 to 85% of people will put all of their weight back on by 1 year. Statistically speaking, it's, I believe, 90 to 95, somewhere in there, percent of people will have put on all of their weight back, plus more, by the end of year 2. And then the numbers keep getting smaller and sadder. And then here's what's incredible, is whenever somebody reaches year 5, statistically speaking, it is probable that they will never regain the weight back for their life.
Right.
So, and what's even more crazy is whenever you dive into the numbers and you start looking at, well, statistically, who's the most successful? Women are more successful at maintaining long-term weight loss than men. Now, whether that's societal pressures, whether that's longer issues with, with women. So
it's probably a lot there.
Girls start becoming aware of diet culture. The average exposure to diet culture is 6 years old for women. For men, it's like 15. That's astonishing. Think about the difference of a 6-year-old girl versus a 15-year-old boy. That's sad to think about. It's heartbreaking.
It's not surprising though. Like I'm not surprised by that. Unfortunately.
Right. So statistically, women are far more likely. It's like of the handful percentage of people that keep that weight off at 5 years, 95% are women.
Yeah.
So as a study participant for this, I know that I am in the very small percentage. And again, if I look back on things, it truly took me years, plural, years, to master reading the nutrition label, understanding what my plate should look like. Because you're not going to weigh and track your food for the rest of your life. That's never anyone's intention. It's not practical. It shouldn't be a cathartic moment whenever you finally take your food scale off of your kitchen counter for the first time in years.
Yeah.
But it takes time to learn this stuff. So if we, and I'm sorry to go down a little tangent there.
I think this is good. Person. Because I feel like this is coaching though. Like this is what we're truly trying to get at. And sometimes it can be hard to convey that to people who are really looking for very quick results.
Right. And whenever we think about big picture, we think about long-lasting changes, like we want to make sure that this process becomes a permanent part of your life. And doing it in a sustainable manner is the right way. Again, statistically, the longer that it takes someone to lose the weight, not only the more likelihood that they lost pure body fat, but also the more likely that they sustain it. Sustainable practices yield sustainable results, and inversely, unsustainable results yield unsustainable practices yield unsustainable results. If somebody, I'm using air quotes here, only lost a half a pound a week for a year, that's 26 pounds. Now, nobody's going to make a magazine cover at the checkout aisle in the grocery store saying, I lost 26 pounds in 12 months. Because it's not fleshy, it's not sexy, it's not going to make someone buy that magazine. But if somebody actually lost 26 pounds for 2 straight years, 26 pounds a week for 2 straight years, 52 pounds in 2 years, that is incredibly doable. That is a healthy way to do it. It's slow, it's sustainable. You allow your body, because now you get into body fat set point theories, which I believe. I subscribe to it.
Yeah.
The longer that you've been at a certain body composition, the more likely that your body wants to be at that composition, essentially is the TLDR of it.
Yeah.
But we got to make sure that people understand slow and sustainable gets you the results. And also, most people probably aren't reaching out to us with 50 plus pounds to lose.
Yeah.
Most people, if you lost a pound per week for 12 weeks, maintained it for 12 weeks, lost a pound per week for another 12 weeks, and then took another 16 weeks to learn how to sustain a total of a 24 4 or 25 pound weight loss,
Yeah.
probably coming out pretty darn happy.
Yeah.
You've got a completely different physique.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're probably gonna build a little bit of muscle there around, there as well, and completely change that physique. And it's gonna look like you lost more than whatever that might equal to. And yeah, it's that's where it's almost like I require a minimum of 3 months of not dieting with almost every client. Like, especially if they're signing up new, and for the most part they haven't been tracking, those kinds of things. It's like, hey, like, I've never seen someone just jump into a diet and have amazing success without kind of that first 12 weeks. I'm like, I've seen it time and time. If you can't track macros at maintenance on a consistent basis, you will not be able to track macros by dieting. That is not going to be the motivating factor that is going to solve your issues. You've got to, in a sense, like, you kind of need to show me that you deserve to kind of diet, right? Well, show me that you can do it with more calories, because it's just going to get harder with less calories. And so it's not like I'm never trying to stave off the results. This is a results-driven job, of course, but there are going to be certain things that you kind of have to do before we can get there.
Right. And I think that's the difference of who's suited for truly working with a coach for long-term results versus who just needs to do some waste your time 90-day challenge. If you're looking for just something that, hey, you're going to get the weight off, great. There are 90-day challenges out there that you're going to get exactly what you're paying for. And then a year from now, you're going to look at yourself and go, oh, I guess I'm signing up for the same 90-day challenge because I'm right back to where I was on that day one photo.
Yep.
Or take the time to recognize, look, short term, you're learning the basics. You're getting the guidance. Midterm, you're refining the habits, you're pushing towards some goals, we're getting through some plateaus. Long term, you've learned how to master the progress and actually implement it.
Yeah.
So,
and, I mean, sorry, just like think about it this way too. Like, you're hiring coaches. Like, let's just say Phil and myself. We both have been doing this exact same thing for 30 plus years, right? Like, we started where a lot of you started. Like, tracking macros was just becoming a thing as I was graduating university, right? Like, it was starting to kind of catch on and become this, like, oh, what's this? Like, this is kind of new. If it fits your macros. Like,
what year was
a
that?
new thing when we were getting into this industry and started kind of at the bottom, and now we're here.
And what year was that, just so people have reference?
I want to say it was like 2012, 2011. Like, that's kind of, it's going to be within that era there. Right. Of when If It Fits Your Macros was really starting to become just a baby.
Yeah. So, and not to come off like a fitness hipster, but I started tracking my macros in 2005. Whenever I started, I had a spreadsheet on my desktop computer that had a dial-up connection.
Yeah. So like, it takes time, right? And now you and me, like, we can pretty much go through our days and not weigh a single thing out. But it's because, like, I weighed out food pretty much every single day for over a decade. Like, I have done that. Like, I've gone through multiple preps. I've done multiple powerlifting meets. Like, I've changed my body composition. Like, I've been up to 225. I've been to 170 pounds. Like, I've been across the gambit. Like, I've eaten 6,000 plus calories a day. I've eaten 1,300 calories a day. Like, so we're not just BSing you when we're talking about you come and hire us and go, yeah, you know what? This is going to take some time. Like, because we've also been through it. We've experienced it, and we not just know what we're talking about from an educational standpoint, but we also have the experience to back it up.
So let's talk now, like, how do people actually get the results from coaching? So people have decided, look, I know this isn't a quick fix working with an experienced coach. They've decided I'm ready to make the investment into myself. I am ready to go with this person, that what they're saying makes sense. There's a really good connection here. There's a level of trust. So how do people actually get the results from coaching? I'll let you kick us off.
I would say the two biggest ones, other than, the obvious of actually doing the work that we lay out for them, checking in consistently on a weekly basis. I think that's huge. And honestly, what I've kind of noticed in this, kind of in lieu of that, but not just checking in the app, but having phone calls on a semi-regular basis, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly, I have found that to be huge for a lot of people because they're showing up invested. They're having questions. It's constantly on the front of their mind of like, okay, like we're having these somewhat face-to-face interactions on a very semi-regular basis, and they're buying in. They're performing the work. They're asking questions. They're learning. They're checking in on a weekly. Like all of those things really shows that okay, like I'm invested. And if you're showing you're invested, I'm going to be probably a little bit more invested as well.
And for me, I'd say my number one thing is just consistency over perfection. Yep. Like you don't have to hit your macros perfect every single day. You don't have to train 6 days a week. You got to keep showing up though. And it's better to train 3 days a week for an entire year than it is to train 6 days a week for 3 months and then just decide, see ya, I'm out, I'm done, life got too hard. Like 6 days a week, anybody can do it for a few months. But 6 days a week sustained for a year, like I couldn't do that. I can't do that as a father with 2 kids. I can't do that as a business owner. I can't do that as an adult with real responsibilities and a marriage that I have to invest, that I want to, and I have to invest my time in. Like, you add the want.
Yeah, not have to, I want to. Yeah. You're not a professional athlete. Mm-hmm. And I also, I think it's important to get across to people is you're also not a competitor.
Right.
So quit feeling like you have to act like one.
People compare themselves, and what's the saying? Comparison is the thief of joy. So, a lot of people get that comparison stuff, just really start talking nasty to themselves about, well, so-and-so did it in this long, and blah, blah, blah. Look, a lot of times people will quit right before they have their biggest breakthrough and they start seeing the major results. Progress isn't linear, and some people will lose inches before they lose weight on the scale, but if you quit too soon, you're never going to have that breakthrough. Or if you start, stop, you're never going to have that breakthrough. No matter the coach that you're working with, no matter the training program, no matter what approach you're taking with calories and protein or macros or carb cycling or keto or carnivore or vegan or. It doesn't matter what the approach is. If you're not consistent with it, you're not going to end up with the results. So, like Tyler was saying, ghosting yourself or ghosting your coach, it doesn't help you. We hear it all the time. Oh, hey, coach, I didn't check in this week because I had a bad week. No, that's when you need to check in. The weeks where you're doing great, it's easy to check in. It's easy to communicate with your coach when everything's going well. Usually the communication takes, hey, coach, everything's going really well. Happy with the results this week. Awesome. Hey, I have a date night on Friday, going to a steakhouse, planning on ordering a 8-ounce filet, baked potato, side salad, 1 drink. Does that sound good? Yup, that sounds great. Thumbs up from coach. Let me know if you need anything. But it's the weeks where, hey, I'm halfway through the week. My car broke down. My dog has to go to the vet. There's something going on. My washing machine broke. It's the crazy weeks where life just rains on you. Or it's the weeks where you're like just being honest with your coach of, I'm feeling stuck. I don't think I'm seeing the results. Sometimes you just need your coach to go, hold on, 10-foot view. You're way too close to the problem. Take a couple of steps back, and now let's look at the paint job on this car. It looks pretty darn good. We're making good progress. This is what we need to stick with. Yeah. So remember, it's not just about the workouts. It's not just about the food or how much cardio you're doing. Life is crazy. Tell your coach. If your energy is down, tell your coach. The more we know, the better we can help. Knowing is half the battle, G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Like I'll tell clients, I'm like, I care, but I don't care that you had a bad week. Like, obviously I care. Like, I want to know so I can help you. But I don't care because it's going to happen. That's life. That's normal. Like, We all have bad weeks. We all have weeks where we're not performing to our own expectations that we put on. And in that sense, I kind of don't, I don't care because it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's good.
Right.
Like, let's just.
You're not being judged by us for saying I'm struggling.
Yeah, but I care because, all right, here are some solutions. Here's something that we can do. Like last week, we were talking, I was having a really rough week. Stress was high, recovery wasn't great. I was pretty achy, like achier than, I normally am in terms of just, gym status and recovery. And you know what? It was like, I'm going to go in, overall volume comes down a little bit, just going to kind of do what my body feels it can do. So I'm not injuring myself, still being somewhat consistent, hitting my main compound movements, maybe not a lot of accessory work. I'm feeling pretty damn good going into this week, and then it's just starting to build on that, and so it's going to happen. And so the more you can tell your coach, the more solutions and the more we can support and help you and keep you moving forward.
So, what is a good coaching client versus someone who's struggling? The best clients show up consistently. They follow the plan, but they ask questions. They apply feedback. They stay focused on long-term progress. The ones who struggle hop from plan to plan. They're always chasing what's the next big thing. They only check in when things are going well. They're looking for shortcuts instead of building habits. And people show up with a full cup. They think they already know everything, but they aren't seeing the results. Yeah. So you don't have to be the perfect client. You just need to be an engaged one. You just need to communicate. You just need to stay consistent and apply what you're going to learn. I can read any self-improvement book, but if I don't apply what's in there, then I've done nothing but just read a book. And if I want to read a book, I'm going to read some Harry Potter or I'm going to read Lord of the Rings because I am a nerd's nerd and I have the Boba Fett tattoo to prove it. So apply what you're learning. Apply what your coach is telling you. But what your coach is going to tell you comes from checking in, asking for feedback, asking questions. If your coach tells you shut up and trust the process because you asked, hey, how long should I be in a deficit for? Probably find a new coach. But if you're saying, well, hey, how long should I be in a deficit for? Well, it really and your coach answers back, well, it really depends on how long are we seeing progress for? How's your consistency? How's your relationship with food? How are you doing in terms of making progress with your training goals? And if you come back and say, well, the reason I'm asking is because I'm really having a lot of issues with food noise. I'm having a lot of issues with being focused on my next meal. I'm having a lot of issues with hunger being really high. That's the communication that now, instead of just a quick little, well, keep pushing through, a good coach is going to recognize it's probably a good time to do a little bit of a maintenance break. Whether that's a couple of weeks, whether that's 2 months, 3 months. Yeah. That's where the communication comes in. So, final thoughts here. The real question isn't, does coaching work? The real question is, can you work the plan? Are you in a good spot to actually be coached and to actually apply this? Somebody that signed up for coaching and then 2 weeks later they're off to Europe for a month-long vacation. Look, if your goal is fat loss during that time, you picked the wrong time to sign up. Just being honest.
Yes, I have been to Europe for a month. You do not want to. Yeah, you don't want to be on a fat loss goal while you're in Europe for a month.
No, nobody wants to say no to some of the best cheese in the world.
No.
Sorry to anybody from Wisconsin.
And some of the best beer in the world.
Amen, brother. So, look, if you're in a cycle of starting, stopping, you got to just break the pattern. You got to just commit. You got to just say, you know what? I keep trying these quick fixes, and it's not working. Commit to yourself. Again, a year from now feels like it's so much further away. A year ago feels like it was yesterday. The windshield of a car is always, the front windshield of a car is always bigger than the rear glass. So if this has resonated with you, or you know somebody who needs to hear it, you're looking for a coach, and you're looking for somebody who's going to hold you accountable, because that's the number one thing that we hear is, I just need somebody to keep me accountable. Remember, it's going to take longer than 3 months to actually see your goals, but reach out to us. We do free consultations. This is what we've done. Like Tyler said, combined 30 years of experience here. We're going to help you stay on track for good.
Let's do it.
All right. So today's question, Tyler.
Yeah.
This is a similar one to what I asked you a couple weeks ago. Would you rather have to communicate only in movie quotes for the rest of your life, or have the ability to understand every language, but you can only respond in Pig Latin?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Because I love the idea of understanding every language. Like, that would be pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you can only respond in Pig Latin. And responding in movie quotes, I think would be pretty hilarious. Like, I just kind of go to like Step Brothers and Wedding Crashers and like all of those types of movies. Go ahead.
Imagine whenever the movie quotes don't even relate to the context of what's happening. Like, you're
yeah. I guess that would mean, like, is it only the movies I know? Like, is it kind of like, I understand every single language. Do I know every quote from every single movie all of a sudden? Like, The Matrix, that like just uploads to me?
Let's assume that it does.
That's a really hard one. I'm gonna go with respond in movie quotes, because I think life would be a lot more entertaining that way, of piecing it all together and like having a conversation still in movie quotes and whatnot. And like, I feel like you'd also then just become the most wittiest person out there.
I like that answer, and I feel like as millennials, our generation just has a bunch of movie quotes already memorized. Like, that's the great thing about growing up as Blockbuster kids, and then we were also like peak Netflix and streaming services and everything. So I agree. I got to go with communicate only in movie quotes, but I would love to use it as like completely out of context lines. So like if I'm at Lowe's and they're like, "Hey, how's your day going?" "Hope is a dangerous thing, friend." Like, with that line from Shawshank. Hope will get a man killed.
Yes, I think that would be, I think that would be a lot of fun. It would keep life a lot more entertaining.
Bank teller. "All right, next in line. I'm your Huckleberry."
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Well, thank you all, as always, for joining us today. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, smash the review button, or subscribe. Or I don't know. Why does everybody always inflict violence on the subscribe button?
I don't know.
Hug the subscribe button for us. Hug the subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one.